Okay, right. This is Holly Simeone. Thank you for joining the Somerville Commission for Persons with Disabilities March 18th meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thank you all. I see we have some new faces and names here tonight. I'm gonna start by reading the agenda, and then actually I'm gonna start with the roll call by voice. Pauline. Here. Harriet. Here. Nick. Here. Sheila. Here. Michael.
Here.
Rashid. I think you're muted, Rashid.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Ingrid.
Here.
Nikki.
I started to make some hot chocolate.
Nikki, we can't hear you.
Now you're unmuted. Oh, but we don't hear you here.
Oh,
Audio button.
there is. I think she must be having audio issues at her end. Maybe.
Well, if you want to raise your hand that you're present.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah.
Present.
Deborah,
Here.
Helen. Helen, if you can unmute for a second for roll call. Helen? Can you hear us? Is everyone muted?
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
There we go. Yay. And I'm here. So we are a total of 11. I'm just gonna start off by welcoming Nikki, our newest member. She has taken over the ex officio role with seat on the commission. Welcome, Nikki. You've come to many meetings before. I'm very happy to have you here in a permanent position now. I'm gonna read the agenda and then we're gonna get started. We're gonna go through and have some elections tonight. We're gonna have an update on the swings and the next steps. We're gonna talk about RSJ collaboration, some commission funding projects, project with PTAC in Union Square, and a project with the Somerville Special Ed Parent Advisory Committee known as CPAC. Some events that we're planning in 2025 and a very short map variance. We also are going to talk about the monthly parking fine fund and any updates from our financier, and project reports and a staff liaison. So I sent out a document when I sent it to the members that goes over Robert's rules of how we do elections. I'm sure everyone, so we're all having some problems here with the local Wi-Fi. There's been a change in IT. And one thing I did when I was making sure that we could have elections was I read that we needed to have 7 days notice for the members. And I had 7 days notice when I sent this and the agenda to the members. And when I posted the agenda and the event to the website, but my agenda was removed and it didn't get put back up until the following day. And I cannot see now where it says, at least on this document, that we needed those 7 days to have
I think because the original agenda was posted within 7 days.
I don't think it was ever posted because you told them not to post it.
But it was posted within 7 days.
Okay, so we're gonna go with, I have enough time. Does anyone have any questions about how nominations work? Everyone's so quiet. Yes, Ms.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Chair, I'm gonna review what I remember. Which is that, anyone in the commission can nominate, themselves or another commissioner for any of our officer seats, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Let me do a second, and then do we do an aye, or what do we do?
A member can be nominated for multiple offices. And then. And nobody can nominate more than one person for one office. Only can nominate one person or yourself for a particular office. We're not gonna do ballots, we're gonna just do a roll call because we are in this hybrid fashion. And one thing that's important is that I close the nominations officially before we move on to voting. So with that said, we're gonna start off with the role of chair. If anyone would like to nominate or self-nominate anyone,
Nominate, may I speak? Nominate you.
you, note that Harriet has nominated Holly. Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Nominations for chair are closed. We're gonna go through, a roll call vote. All those in favor of electing me as chair, I'm gonna call up your names. You can answer. If you have a problem, Mike, and your video is on, you can certainly wave your arm up. Pauline,
Aye.
Harriet,
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sheila?
Yes.
Mike? Michael, sorry. I saw the hand up. Rashid,
Aye.
Ingrid,
Yeah.
Nikki,
Aye.
Deborah,
Aye.
Helen,
Give you mine.
I see your hand up. Is that because you have a question, Helen? Oh, sorry.
No, I
Sorry,
thought you
Deb.
called my name.
How do you vote in favor of the nomination for chair?
Yes,
And I'm gonna abstain. So that motion that vote passes and will remain chair. Okay, next we will open the nominations for vice chair. Anyone can nominate themselves, anyone nominate another person.
Nominate myself.
Okay, we have one nomination. Harriet nominates herself. Would anyone else like to nominate another person? Or themselves? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, seeing as there is none, I will close nominations and we will roll call vote again. Harriet to be reelected as vice chair. Pauline,
Aye.
Harriet,
Staying, right?
you don't have to.
Oh, aye.
All right. Nick. Sheila.
Aye.
Michael. What's up? Mercedes,
aye.
Ingrid,
Aye.
Nikki,
Aye.
Deborah,
Aye.
Helen,
Aye.
and I'm also an aye. Okay, the ayes have it. Harriet, you've been reelected as vice chair. That's good borrow. Okay, next we have treasurer. Anyone like to elect nominate anyone for treasurer?
I nominate Sheila. This is Deborah.
Thank you, Deborah. And we'll make a note that you nominated Sheila. Any other nominations? Okay, any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, I'm closing nominations. I'm gonna put it to a roll call vote to Sheila to be re-elected as our treasurer. Pauline,
Yes.
Harriet, Nick, Sheila, yes, Mike,
Uh,
Michael,
yes.
Rashid,
Yes.
Ingrid,
Yes.
Nikki,
Yes.
Deborah,
Yes.
Helen,
Yes.
and I'm a yes also. Okay, Sheila, you've been elected treasurer. Our last officer is secretary. I'm gonna open up nominations for secretary. You can't be secretary and then treasurer. Oh, I want to nominate someone. Oh, okay, sorry. Go ahead. You may nominate. I'd like to nominate Helen Corrigan. Okay, Ms. Helen. Making a note, Sheila's nominating Helen for secretary. Any other nominations?
May I ask a clarifying question about this role, since this commission has asked for RSJ to hire separate note takers? I'm assuming this position won't take minutes,
That is correct.
so not a recording secretary role.
Because it's so, the call is so hot.
Would anyone else like to nominate anyone for secretary?
I have a question, if I may. If
Sure.
if it's not note taking, then what exactly will secretary do?
Correspondence, I believe.
Correspondence?
Yeah, so the difference between, because some boards have both. Recording secretary, which is somebody who takes the minutes or any other record keeping of the meeting, whatever that looks like for that body. So since this body has opted to essentially outsource that to quote unquote a professional, which RSJ is fulfilling that request. Then a corresponding secretary could assist the other members of the exec sending correspondence out about meetings or other documents, or if the chair has to call a special meeting, they could send that correspondence. I served as a corresponding secretary, so it's a lot of email.
It's a lot of emails.
Yeah,
Thank you.
or calls. Yeah.
Thank you for asking, Michael. Any other nominations? Any nominations? Any nominations?
Yeah.
Rashid,
I want to nominate Michael.
okay? Steve? And Michael. Excellent.
Does Michael accept his nomination? Probably their question.
That's true.
Well, I didn't ask.
I I would be happy to, although Helen is an excellent candidate.
Please don't say that, no.
I'll put my name in, sure. We should have one elected, one, yeah.
And Helen, you also accept her nomination? Helen? Did we lose her?
She's still.
Oh, we lost her.
Oh, no.
She was just so excited.
Did you say?
Careful.
So you
No.
could pause until she gets back.
Okay,
So you could table it and then,
Okay, Michael, forgive me, we're gonna table this for the moment until we can get Helen to also confirm that we would like to serve.
Should
Um,
we say a few words when she gets back? Or are we just gonna vote?
I think that would be lovely, if you'd like to. Okay, so we have, several guests today. Give me 1 second. PTAC is here.
nobody from PTAC is here.
PTAC was supposed to be here. And CPAC was also supposed to be here. Okay, well, we will wait on those two items. And, can you text, so let me see, things like that. Swings, we're gonna move on to the swings. There was a, vote in February. January, for the one in January, yes, okay, so we voted in January. And it was a contingent vote that we were to receive the invoice and the information about what swings were being recommended, as well as the invoice to understand the cost involved. And also to be able to have a discussion with Lisa and her team. We were told that would take 1 or 2 days, and it took a little bit longer. And, when we got it, it actually wasn't, it was an update and a decision. And I pushed back as the chair because it also talks about there was a purchase order ready to go. And our money cannot be encumbered without our signature on a quote or an invoice or purchase order. And also the vote was taken with conditions. And, that went back and forth a little bit, and that ended up having to have a larger discussion about the swings. And, one thing that, we were told, was that the swings, the particular Gen swing, did not have the 2 safety standards that it should have. I believe that's ASTM. And I'm not gonna get the other letters exactly correct. And my response to that was that it was a swing that's not actually made in the USA, therefore it couldn't have those. And there was a lot of research done, which we greatly appreciate. And, the decision was that this was ASTM F1487 for all those who are checking. And then also the, US Safety Standard Consumer Safety ASTM. IP, oh, I'm having an alphabet soup. Bear with me 1 moment, please. And, so we were asked, Sheila and I were asked to go back and discuss with the group, what we would like in the swings. And we had shared that, we felt that there should be, that our thoughts were that there should be 2 different types of swings. One that has more support, head, shoulders to feet, as well as is more secure and strapped in. And a swing that is more of a locking mechanism for kids who are gonna dash, but you don't want them to jump off in the middle of the swing, which is more of the design of the swing that Parks landed on. And, so we asked to, mull that over and to bring it back to the commission so we could have a chat about this. And I did some research and I found out that there is, that the Gen swing actually is safety, does meet those ASTMs. It has to do with whom you buy it through. And it's also the swing that sits in Mayor Menino's park over by, Spalding Rehab. And they're in other places as well. And so I wanted us to have just a conversation, so that we could give parks some feedback. So I'm gonna open it up for discussion. Anyone would like to start, what their thoughts are? I'm gonna also limit the time on this. I realize we've lost some time already. Is that Helen? Yeah, she's. Her computer died. Okay, she wanted to work. Okay, she can dial in by phone. So it is 7:48. I'm gonna stop the conversation at 7:58. The discussion on this. So if any of the members have to ask any questions or give any feedback about the swings. I think we've had issues with the minutes not having everything in them. And the minutes did not reflect that it was a contingent vote. However, it was on the video and the transcript. And, so I'm opening up the floor if anyone would like to ask any questions or has any thoughts about the different swings.
Question
Yes, Nick?
from, so it's the big plastic seat and it's like the dual thing. Okay.
So there was a survey sent out and it had the two swings in it, in this survey, and it's sort of red and longer
Yeah.
swing with the straps that can be adjusted in tight.
It was, when you said the one in the Nino Park,
There's about 4 different ones in the Neenah Park. And there is one that is a gen swing that is made in the US by, I think it's called Sports Play. And then there is a swing.
She's not gonna.
That was the one that, Parks had decided was the safety piece. And that, of course, is because they didn't know that swing is actually in other parks. It's just who it's manufactured by makes the difference. And it took me a while to find it myself, because I remembered seeing it and I thought, how can it be in any other parks if it's not safe? Because nobody would want to put it. And the interesting part is, if you read the national safety standards, any swing that you add the netting to it becomes a choking hazard if anyone is unsupervised. But the swing that is the rigid that has the piece that comes down and locks in place, that swing also comes with the netting and would also pose the same choking hazard. So it's a very I don't want to say it's confusing, but it is difficult to understand why they have them so that they can be safe for people who don't have a lot of head control. But they can create a choking hazard. If some child
Oh, yeah.
was not being watched and decided to hang themselves from a strap in a park, which none of us would ever want anything in a park to be able to do such. How is Helen? She says it says she's in the waiting room. Because she got so I mean it says that.
I resent the link.
Oh, good. Does anyone else have any questions or comments about the swings? I know we would all like just to have swings done and hung and kids playing. Oh. She's getting booted out.
No,
Oh, sorry. Yes, ma'am.
So the question is how we want to proceed, whether it's one particular swing or two different style swings to be split amongst the parks that we're putting the swings into.
That's a great introduction.
You speak a little louder.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, it's Michelle.
It's really short.
But I just, asked if what we are voting for or talking about, whether we take a vote or not, is that whether it's one specific chair we prefer, we feel is the right one, or whether we want two different styles, which probably describe, which I think, you know, I don't think there are many, with disabled children, there's no one size fits all. And there are some children that would do better in one style than the other style, and I think that if we were able to provide both, you know, families could have their children go to the park that had the swing that served them the best. If we would have decided we should have two.
Nicole has her hand.
Nicole, you have a question or comment? You were muted for the moment.
So sorry. I don't know how that happened. Hi everyone. Yeah, no, just a couple of comments. First is I just want to thank the members on the commission for just sticking with this. This has been like a marathon with this whole swing discussion, and I just want to thank everyone for advocating for this. I think it's important, right, for kids that don't have anything to do on our city playgrounds. I just think I think it makes sense to, you know, since there were the two different swings included in the survey, to have that represented. So maybe to do 50-50. Of course, you know, there might be other opinions on this, but I just think where the decision was split, that both should be considered.
Okay. I'm just gonna share it now, although it would have been part of their report on legislative matters. But there was a committee meeting for city council on public spaces. And there was a letter that Louisa wrote, in response to a board order asking for an update on the swings, as well as the universal park that's being planned for the front lot of Kennedy School. And several of us testified, and I would just like to reiterate that I thought that the letter that Louisa wrote was wonderful in so many ways, because what she talked about is that the ADA is not enough. And that just having a park that's ADA compliant doesn't give kids or adults enough time to play on everything. It doesn't force everything to be accessible. It's like having a route to a swing is not enough unless there's a swing to ride on. And she also talked about how they design in the city accessible parks, but over time things can change. And I pointed out in my testimony that what happens is not the fault of the Parks Department, the designers, the DPW, or any people within the city. It is a lack of budget. Because what happens is if there isn't proper maintenance and they're not filling in things and they're not fixing cracks and they're not maintaining the equipment, then they become inaccessible, which is what a lot of our parks have become. And what I asked was in support of making sure that whatever is built at the Kennedy and all of our parks, that our city councilors put through this year's budget to include specific amounts for parks to be maintained. Because it would be a very big waste to spend millions of dollars on a Kennedy playground that would be fully accessible and not maintained. And I think that we owe that to the people in the city that work really hard to plan these parks, to maintain these parks, so they have enough staff and they have the materials that they need. Because it's not fair for Louisa and all of the people within the city who do all of this work to be told this is inaccessible when it's a maintenance issue. So I really appreciated what she said between the lines without calling out the issue, but I really feel the issue is maintenance And so as a city, we need to respond to that. And I did also say that the swings were in the court of the commission, that this was not a delay on the part of PSOF, who was the group reporting at that committee meeting. So I think what I'm hearing is that we need to bring this information that I located about that particular swing to make sure that Louisa and her team can review it and see where they would need to buy the item that is compliant. And then take our recommendation, which is to put a mix of the two different swings out there. And I think there are already several of the swings of these swings in the different parks, and we should just balance it out. Does anyone have any other comments about my statement? Ms. Harriet?
Through the chair, I just was, this is probably just a. So, the reason I'm trying to thought here. I was wondering, so maintenance is an issue, budgeting is an issue, and the last thing you said, was we're supporting one swing or two swings or sort of experimental one, and then we're actually moving the second in. I don't even know where to go.
What I was saying that, Louisa's team had in their research did not find that the Gen swing that's in many of our parks is compliant with those two regulations. And that's because when you look at the website from where it's made, it is not a US product and therefore it doesn't carry those. It can't be a US certified product. However, there are local US based companies that make it and it is certified for those safety requirements. So I wanted us to just bring that information back to her attention to see if her team would reconsider having two different types of swings. But then evenly distribute them. And there were several other people who spoke at that event, at that subcommittee meeting. And we actually had one woman who volunteered her daughter, who's a physical therapist, who would like to help with us in parks to understand what would fit children of different abilities, especially in things like Kennedy and in other areas of the state. Does that make sense? Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so I'm gonna send that information, bundle that up, and copy everyone, and we will send that back over to Louisa to look at and see what they decide. How is Helen?
Ellen said that she got the message that she was on waiting room. Adrian sent another link. She said, I'm getting the same message in that new link. I'm gonna try on a different computer. Oh, she tried on a different computer, still not working.
You can call her. Oh, there she is.
You did?
Mhm.
Beautiful. Miss Helen. Oh,
Let her
connecting.
connect. Helen, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Helen?
Can you hear us? I don't have the audio on.
Hi, Helen.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry you missed the swings update.
Yeah. Are we going to get them? That's all I care about.
Well, we had another meeting and we're going back and forth we're gonna give them some information back for them to review. And then hopefully we will have some more collaboration and come to a decision on what is safe and possible. So Helen, I did not ask you if you wanted to accept Sheila's nomination for secretary correspondence.
Yes, I would be happy to accept the nomination.
And then we can vote. So, we have Sheila nominated Helen, Steve nominated Michael. Are there anyone else who would like to nominate any other people for this role? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Seeing as there are no others, I will close nominations and we will vote. I'm all those in favor of, Helen. I don't know how to do this.
I
They
think
roll call.
as awkward as it is, you have to roll call each person and they have to tell you who,
Thank you very much.
with no hard feelings.
No. Pauline.
Helen.
Okay, Harriet, you have to speak up, my dear.
Helen.
Thank you. Nick. Sheila. Helen. Michael.
I'll vote for myself.
Yes, as you should. Rashid.
Michael.
Ingrid.
Michael.
Nikki.
I'll abstain.
Deborah.
Michael.
Helen.
Helen,
One, two, three, four,
I
five.
think you didn't vote yet.
Or I'm abstaining from this, not a minute, I don't think it would be appropriate. If we could have two.
You actually would have had to be.
But, we have 5 Helens and we have 4 Michaels.
It's close.
Thank you, Michael, for being brave.
He could
okay.
be an alternate.
He can. Okay. Moving along.
Yes, Michael.
What it,
No, unmute. Now you're frozen.
He does look frozen.
He does.
Oh, now you're moving, Michael. Did you?
The chair.
what is an alternate?
It just means that you would by default fill in if Helen could not perform.
Okay.
Would you like to be considered for that?
I
That's
have
not-
to say, I have never heard of this alternate.
Nor have I.
I congratulate Michael on being willing to serve. But I've never heard of what Adrian is suggesting.
There you go. So Helen is going to do a great job.
I guess that's the end of the discussion.
Thank you, Mike. Mercy, do you have your hand up? Oh.
Rashid?
Yeah, I was just trying to ask, isn't there any rule that has to do with gender? Gender
No, sir.
sensitivity?
Gender sensitive.
What do you mean by
Gender.
that, Rashid?
As like people that maybe would be subscribing as men or women, and then we say that the women, which is good, that have taken it up without like the all executive, there is no men or people that subscribe as men.
I think I understand what you're saying. Well, presumably the only man who self-nominated was Michael. and there was a vote and Michael was not chosen, so there's no issue there. It just happened to be all females.
All right.
Yeah, so it's
I
fine.
would like to add, it took women long enough to get these votes, to get votes. And we work hard for them.
Yeah, it's
I
a good
will-
one.
Yeah, and I will say there's more women on this body than there are men.
Yep.
Okay,
So,
No worries.
thank you to everyone, for going through that exercise. Nicole, are you able to quickly text Shu to see if she can jump back on? Or I can try to, I'm sorry. let me
I'm
just-
sorry. Did you say Nicole?
Yeah, I'll try to text her now.
I already did. I already did it earlier. So I also sent her the new link. So she has it.
Shu?
Yeah, unfortunately, they're having their business meeting right now at the same time.
Yes, you're right.
So I guess she'll try and get on as quickly as she can.
Thank you. She also was here when we had our
promotion.
our inappropriate videos showing. Okay, so we're gonna move on to our next item, which is RSJ collaboration. So, we were asked, that was myself, Sheila, and Harriet, to meet to talk about swings. And it was Amanda, and it was, Amanda Jean Williams, the director of RSJ. It was Louisa and Adrian, and it was to talk about an update on the swings. And it was a very contentious meeting. And, normally, there are meetings that happen in small groups when we work on projects, like we have on our agenda where we talk about where we are with, social events and accessibility and the website and legislative matters. And then there are events like we go and we speak at city council as residents. And sometimes the leadership team also directly works on things like the paperwork behind the scenes, the things that the majority of people don't know happen. And that's part of the roles that we have. But this was a very uncomfortable conversation, and because members of my team were really uncomfortable with it, it felt it was important that it was discussed or at least shared. Because what we were told was that we're not honest, that we don't share all of the information back with the members. And and that felt very uncomfortable. It also talked about that our members were very inappropriate when Meg and John presented to the meeting. And what really upset me was that, if someone was that upset from October, why would you wait until February to tell us? Because I would never want anyone to come to one of our meetings and be upset. I apologize for that. And again, I expressed the same thing I said then. I've never been allowed to talk to that person or have their email address. And I, to even now to apologize to them. And I went back, and I'm sure others did as well from the group, and looked at the recordings and listened to what was said. And there was a few comments that were taken from the public that may have been thought that they were saying something that wasn't very kind. And there was a lot of things that went on during that meeting. We had a lot of moving parts. I don't think it was set up properly. When anyone comes to talk to our meetings, I go over with them what the presentations are. I go over with them what the mood of the group is going to be, depending on what they're trying to present, what they need to get out, you know, and key things are always, we already understand this piece, but we don't understand that piece. Also, don't have a lot of visuals unless you can talk and describe them. And this is the time frame in which you want to stay within. And that person, I was not allowed to have that conversation. And it was not anyone's fault who presented. It is not anyone's staff or city employee that wanted this to happen. And I really feel terrible that they were upset, but I'm more upset that we were told that we are not honest and we do not share everything out with the commission. And for that reason, members of RSJ are now directly communicating with all of us, members of this commission. And I'm gonna, again, politely ask that all communication to the members go through the chair. And that there's not to be conversations outside of meetings on things that we're discussing without going through the chair. And I have printed off messages just in the last few hours of all of the things to see that I haven't shared, because there were things like arguing about who can make a phone call about a food meal, or what name should be on an invoice, or that no one on a commission is allowed to speak to anyone within the city, even as a resident. And I think it's very important that the commission be well known of all the things that are happening that are not kosher. Agendas are made by the chair. They are set by the chair. Everyone in this group has a voice. Value all of it. Everyone should know, and if you don't realize that at this second in time, if you see something, or you have an idea, or you have a question, you bring it to me, we will put it on the agenda and we will talk about it. All inputs are welcome. We work on so many projects. We scramble to get flags raised. We scramble to get tents raised at art shows. We line up books at the library. We spend our own time, hours and hours, trying to advance the needs and recognize and celebrate people with disabilities in the city. We are not bad people. But whoever is saying things about our character, not in front of us, needs to stop. Because I will not allow someone to say we've done something wrong if we haven't. If we have, and I'm not aware of it, if I have, I will own it, and I will learn for it, and I will apologize. But I will not be bullied. Would you like to add anything?
Yes.
I'm gonna stop this.
No, you're not.
No, I am, because you're talking about my leadership of the department this commission is under. And two
Please lower your
people
tone.
who are on leadership who are not here.
Please lower your tone.
No, Holly, no, Sheila, stop.
The chair is not recognizing you.
I can shut down this meeting if I want to.
You certainly can, and I can reconvene another meeting in another.
No,
time.
you can't, Holly. You don't have that privilege. Because these meetings have to be run on a Zoom link by the city, which is given to me.
But
And
that's-
I will not have my department, as much as they've supported this commission.
Please stop pointing at me and please stop yelling. I
No,
will
this
ask
is not
security.
appropriate,
I
Holly.
will ask security to remove you. This is not. if you
Where?
have-
What security, Holly?
Wait a minute. We have the ability to report back to this commission how badly we were treated at that meeting. Sorry, give me, I'm speaking now.
Please,
I have the floor.
yes, but please have a nice tone. If you
Okay.
we're gonna take a nice
I will
deep
take it
breath
down.
and we're
Take
gonna
it
be
down.
very respectful.
No,
We-
agree to move on with your agenda or this meeting ends. And I will call Amanda right now and tell her why I am.
I think we should all have Amanda come and speak with us openly and not be told that we are dishonest, that we are not sharing information to all of the members. You cannot change my agenda. You
I
cannot
can,
dictate
I
my
have the
agenda.
privilege from the clerk's office to change it.
Well.
And if the city gives me a new Zoom account, I have to change it. That's
No,
not my
no.
decision, Holly.
Okay. I would like, what I'm discussing is no one tells, the chair decides what is on the agenda. You removed my agenda.
You
told
also
me-
removed my report
Yeah.
twice. No,
So I don't have to put a report on my agenda.
yes, you do, because Director Megan Williams told you so in the fall. And you have defied that almost twice now.
That's because this is a meeting of the chair. You're
And
not
the
a member.
ADA coordinator gets a report as the staff liaison and the, do not shake your head, Sheila. No, this meeting is over. Sorry, everyone. This is not how this is supposed to go. And I am ending it and we can all go home and I
How
will.
many members do we still have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.